Introducing the DRF Cash Grab app, the super easy, free-to-play sports predictor game from a name you know and trust. The Daily Racing Form. Use your sports knowledge to predict the winners, and you could score thousands of dollars in cash prizes. Pro football, college football, pro basketball, college basketball, hockey, soccer, boxing, baseball, and more. Compete against others for a spot on the monthly leaderboard. Download the DRF Cash Grab app and play today.
Welcome into DRF Daily, DRF Sportsbooks betting live stream, coming at you each and every day that we have football on. But I should put a little caveat to that, and I've been putting a little bit of caveat to that each time we jump on this live stream. But we will be taking a 2-week hiatus from DRF Daily. Don't worry. You can still catch all of our game previews, everything like that for every primetime game, all the big matchups over on our YouTube channel, DRF Sportsbook on YouTube. We'll be posting them there, but we are taking a 2-week little hiatus from this live stream as things start to ratchet up around NFL and everything like that. But you can still find every single game preview in a very similar format, but just as individual clips over on our YouTube. So be sure to subscribe at DRF Sportsbook. And if you're not already, follow us at DRF Sportsbook on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything like that. That's where you can find us. And without being around the bush, let's dive right into today's slate of picks. We're doing Steelers Colts. We have a fantastic pick for that will make you some money, and a little bit of a player prop that I think has insane value that I'm 99.9% sure it will hit. And then, of course, we have to break down USA-Iran. So much stuff happening around that game, and it hasn't even kicked off yet. That game will kick off tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. But the Steelers take on the Colts here in Monday Night Football. I mean, this is a game we've all been clamoring for, right? I want to see the two offenses that score 17 points or less per game face off in primetime. I mean, can't the NFL flex this one out? Couldn't we have gotten, I don't know, Seahawks Raiders in this spot? Could we have gotten a better game than Steelers Colts? I mean, the Colts have kind of turned the corner since Jeff Saturday took over 2 weeks ago. They picked up a win against the Raiders, and then last week nearly upset the Eagles, and the Eagles nearly lost back-to-back games. But the Eagles figured it out. They ended up winning that game. So the Colts are 1-1 under Jeff Saturday, and it's been an overall disappointing season for the Indianapolis Colts. They came into this year as Super Bowl dark horse favorites, and we all know how that has ended. It has not ended in a good way for the Colts. Ended up firing Frank Wright, of course, and now they come into this game looking a little bit off, but Pittsburgh is kind of in a much worse spot. They don't have a quarterback of the future. Mike Tomlin is looking at his first losing season, not making the playoffs. And Pittsburgh, they're 1-3 straight up over their last 4. Their best game was against the Saints, and the Saints' wheels have just kind of fallen off as this season has gotten further and further along. Jameis Winston out, Andy Dalton in, Alvin Kamara's taking snaps in the Wildcat, Taysom Hill's out there. The Saints are a dumpster fire, and that's the Steelers' only win over this last month of games. Pittsburgh's also 0-7 in a road game after a loss, and that's since the start of 2020. The Steelers haven't been able to they haven't been able to rebound well after a loss on the road, so you can all but chalk this one up as a win for the Colts. Pittsburgh, their offense is inept. Their offense is one of the worst in the entire National Football League. They're 27th in yards per game. They're 22nd in pass yards, 22nd in rush yards. And now it seems like the team kind of wants to jump off the Najee Harris train. He might not be as good as his rookie year made us believe he was. And they don't score a lot of points. They average, as you see there, 17 points per game. A negative 7.4 point differential this season. Not only are they losing, but they're getting blown out. Their strength of schedule is pretty tough. It is tougher than the Colts, but at the same time, they're just not competing. They do finally have TJ Watt back. He came back, I believe, last week after his week 1 injury, but that doesn't really do much for this Steelers team, who are all but out of the playoffs in a tough AFC North. But you look on the other side, the Colts, well, they're not much better. The Colts are pretty bad as well, and the total set at 39.5. That's not because we're looking at two fantastic defenses. A total of 39.5 in this one is because we're looking at two completely abysmal offenses. Two offenses that can't score more than 17 points per game. Two offenses that are bad. Two offenses that don't have a quarterback now and don't have a quarterback for the future. Two offenses that had a feature running back that everyone was excited about, and now they're leaving something to be desired. I could keep going on. Colts average just 16 points per game. Just 16 points per game. Terrible, terrible, terrible. 4.1 yards per rush, 6 yards per pass. Slightly better passing offense than the Steelers. And that may come up big because the Steelers have one of the worst pass defenses in the entire National Football League. Pittsburgh is they allow the second most yards through the air. This is a Steelers defense that allows 272 yards a game, 7.5 yards per attempt. An absolutely abysmal secondary. And what makes them look better, though, is that they have the sixth best rush defense. They allow just 103 yards a game on the ground. But that might be because teams are just absolutely shredding them through the air. And Indianapolis, well, they don't have a great rushing attack, so they may have to rely on Matt Ryan. It looked like Jeff Saturday was figuring out the Jonathan Taylor stuff. It looked like Jonathan Taylor was coming back off an injury and was playing really, really well. And they put up 200 yards in Jeff Saturday's first game. They put up 200 yards against the Las Vegas Raiders. But then last week against the Eagles, who's not the best team, the Eagles, who are one of the top teams in stopping the run, lost my train of thought there. Wheels came off the track. They only got 99 yards. So you got to start questioning, have they figured out Jonathan Taylor? They're averaging about 150 yards per game in 2 games, a very small sample size. But I think they're going to rely on Matt Ryan a lot in this game, and I think that's going to benefit the Colts as they're going to shred through the Steelers secondary. If they're adamant on running the football, which they might be, things might not go well for them. TJ Watt's back, like I said. This is a Steelers defense that allows just about 100 yards per game on the ground. If you run into the teeth of this defense, that's where their strength is, and you're going to have a bad game. You need to rely on Matt Ryan. You need to hope that he has it tonight, and you need to hope that he's going to be able to connect with some receivers and get some big-time yards. I got to go Colts minus 140 money line, and I know that might be a wimp out pick, and it is. This is a wimp out pick. Do I trust the Colts to win by 2.5? I don't, which is really weird to say, but these are two terrible offenses. This game could be 15-17 for all I know, and the Colts don't cover. And at minus 140, I'm okay with eating a little bit of money there and taking that bet on the money line for them to win just straight up. I think at home, the Colts have found somewhat of an identity under Jeff Saturday. They look reinvigorated. Maybe Frank Reich's messaging was getting stale on this team, and Jeff Saturday comes in and he knows how to lead these guys. I'm not sure, but the Colts should win this game. They are going to be without DeForest Buckner, and they're going to be without Yannick Ngakoue. So the Steelers' offense may be able to run the ball fairly well. Kenny Pickett might even have time, but Kenny Pickett just hasn't looked like that dude for the Steelers since he's taken over. So I'm going to go with the veteran quarterback, the veteran signal caller, and this Colts team who have the talent. Let's see if they can put it together tonight and pick up a win. I'm going Colts minus 140. And then we're going to hit a player prop that I think has insane value. Matt Ryan, his over-under pass yard prop is set at 235.5 pass yards. He's gone over that 5 times this season in 11 games. In 10 games. He's gone over it 5 times in their 10 games. His career average against the Steelers, 282 pass yards. Pittsburgh's defense has allowed over 235.5 pass yards every single game, but 2 of them, and one of them was against the Saints, who I just said has that weird QB carousel going on, and of course, they better beat the Saints, and they better hold that offense down. On average, Pittsburgh allows 272 pass yards. Matt Ryan, he should have himself a good game. Not really sure what the injury situation is for the Colts. I haven't really been following that receiver situation too closely this season. But Matt Ryan should step in and have a good game and put up over 235.5 pass yards. If he doesn't, I don't know what to say. He's already washed. Whatever. But I'm riding with Matt Ryan and the veteran signal caller here tonight in prime time. USA against Iran in the FIFA World Cup group stage. USA minus 103. They're the favorites to win, which is big. If we want to take a step out and talk about this a little bit more, it's going to be a very, very tight game. It's going to be a very intense game. The U.S. needs to win in order to advance. A draw does nothing to help them. A loss, of course, hurts them. Iran is currently second in the group with 3 points. The United States 1 point back after 2 draws with 2 points. Iran has a goal differential of -2. The U.S. have a goal differential of 0. They were in a 1-1 draw against Wales in the first game, a 0-0 draw against England. And now they're going up against Iran, who looked terrible against England, looked good against Wales. So you're not entirely sure what's going to happen in this game. Is the U.S. more closely aligned with England, or are they more closely aligned with Wales when it comes to talent? That was a game Wales needed to have, that Wales wanted to have, and they could not come through with the win. So you got to think Iran's got some of that talent. Now, there's a lot of stuff happening outside of the realm of actual game. The United States in some hot water with the Iran government. Iran's calling for their removal from the World Cup because of what they posted on social media, using the wrong flag to show Iran. A lot of interesting stuff. There's a lot of political tensions in this game outside of football. But we're going to focus on the pitch. Can the U.S. men's national team get this win and advance to the knockout stage for the 3rd straight FIFA World Cup that they've been in? Of course, they didn't make the last World Cup, but in every other the 2 previous World Cups, they've advanced when they got in to the knockout stage, and then from there things don't go too well. But United States played a beautiful 90 minutes against England. They left some chances out there, but they played lockdown defense, and they were able to really take it to England and be the better team for let's call it 75-80% of that match. Overall, they've played a wonderful 180 minutes of, I'll say 179 and a half minutes of soccer. Outside of Zimmerman's interesting challenge on Gareth Bale in the box, this team has played wonderfully. They have not allowed a goal in the run of play. The only goal they allowed was that second half PK by Gareth Bale. Now, they've only scored 1 goal, and that came in the first half of this all. They have not scored for 3 consecutive halves, and the offense has had their chances, but the offense just has not been able to convert, which goes all the way back to the CONCACAF qualifiers. This was a team that was head and shoulders above all but maybe one team in CONCACAF, and that's Canada. And they should have really run the table and just destroyed some of those teams. And they didn't, because they weren't able to capitalize on opportunities. And now you're sitting here, Gio Reyna got in last game. You got to think that he is going to start against Iran tomorrow. He will be major. Pulisic had a wonderful game against England. You got to hope he has a little bit of another magic in him. But it's going to be tough against an Iran team that is one of the best in the world at counterattacks. Iran is okay with a 0-0 draw in this game. A 0-0 draw advances Iran to the knockout stage and eliminates the U.S. from getting to that place. If this is a draw, U.S. finishes with 3 points, Iran finishes with 4, and if my math is mathin', that's more. So U.S., all the pressure is on them. They need to score at least 1 goal. So you got to come out aggressive. You got to come out with your foot on the gas. You have to take it to Iran. But you got to be careful, because Iran, if they have an inch of daylight, if they're able to strike on the counter, they're dangerous. In the United States, their backline, their defensive midfield has played extremely well, but you're going to need another fantastic game out of Tyler Adams, Walker Zimmerman, and that entire defensive unit in order to win this game. The United States is favored, -103, for good reason. They have the talent advantage. They're the better team. But this is a young team that has never played in this type of environment. This is the final of the Champions League with stoppage time, and you're tied, but you're down on aggregate. Like, this is a spot that these players have not been in. It's going to be tough for the United States. And the key to this game, they're going to have to capitalize on set pieces and capitalize on opportunities when they create them. But set pieces, this is one of the best teams in the country at converting on, one of the best teams in the world at converting on set pieces, and they haven't been able to do it in this World Cup. Can they get a set piece from a dangerous position, put it into the box, find someone's head, and find the back of the net? That might be all that the United States needs. I think, my pick, United States wins this game 1-0 against Iran in a complete nail-biter that leaves us on our edge of the seats until the very end. They got to convert on chances, but all it takes is one. I have full faith that this United States team will be able to hold Iran to 0. I don't have full faith that the United States, though, can score a goal. So, will be an interesting game, but I got USA winning 1-0. Now, let's recap our best bets from today's episode of DRF Daily. We're all over Colts minus 140 against the Steelers. I think the Colts win. Is it a little bit of a cop-out to go minus 140 money line? Of course it is, but I'm looking for wins, folks. Look at that football record. We're 70-76. We're just looking for wins at this point. Too many close losses. We had a Rams-Chiefs. We were on 15.5. Rams plus 15.5. They lost by 16. Look, we're going for wins at this point. Give me Colts minus 140. Matt Ryan over 235.5 pass yards. On average, he throws for 282 yards against the Steelers. The Steelers allowed 272 yards this season per game, and Matt Ryan has gone over that number 5 games this season of his 11. So those are our 2 for Monday Night Football, and then looking ahead to tomorrow, we're on USA to take down Iran 1-0. It's going to be a close one. 1-1 in the World Cup. Let's make it 2-1, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to DRF Daily. As a reminder, we will be taking a 2-week hiatus from DRF Daily. But if you want to keep up to date with all of our previews, all you got to do is subscribe to our YouTube at DRF Sportsbook. And while you're doing that, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and keep up to date. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And until then, see you on the YouTubes, see you on the internets, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Go USA. Have a profitable week. See ya.